Days of Our Lives Spoilers 2025, a day of confrontations, confessions, and critical choices. If you're a longtime viewer, grab a warm cup of tea, settle into your favorite chair, and prepare yourself for a heart-pounding, emotionally charged day on Days of Our Lives. Kayla's desperate gamble to save Bo at Salem University Hospital. The tension is palpable as Dr. Kayla Johnson stands face-to-face with Dr. Jeffrey Russell. Her voice quivers, not from fear but from an overwhelming burden of love and helplessness. She is running out of time and options to save Bo Brady's life. The experimental drug she believes can bring him back from the brink isn't just hard to come by, it's shrouded in regulatory red tape and untested risks. Dr. Russell, a man not unfamiliar with difficult decisions, listens patiently but firmly informs her that the drug hasn't passed sufficient trials. Its use would be too dangerous, too unproven. But Kayla isn't thinking like a doctor today. She's thinking like a sister, a friend, and a woman who has already seen too much death. She doesn't care about protocols. She cares about Bo. Tears streak her face as she makes a chilling prediction. Without this drug, Bo won't survive. She doesn't say it lightly. She says it like someone who's looked death in the eye before and fears it's about to claim someone she loves once again. And just as all hope seems lost, another Brady steps into the fray. Sean's reckless mission. Sean Brady has heard enough. His father lies in a hospital bed, trapped in a coma that shows no signs of breaking. Seeing Kayla's anguish and driven by his own guilt over how things have spiraled, Sean makes a decision that could either save Bo's life or land him behind bars. He's going to steal the drug. Yes, you read that right. Sean is prepared to break the law to save his father. It's a dangerous plan, reckless even. But in his mind, the risk is worth it. Family is everything, and the thought of losing Bo without a fight is more than Sean can bear. But will he succeed? And if he does, what kind of consequences will come crashing down around the Brady family? The DiMera family fractures deepen. Meanwhile, over at the DiMera mansion, a storm is brewing, and its name is EJ. Freshly released from the hospital, EJ DiMera makes a dramatic return home, catching everyone, especially his son Johnny, completely off guard. Johnny thought he had more time to prepare, to think, maybe even to run. But fate had other plans. Despite the fresh bruises on his body and the trauma of being shot, EJ returns with a calm, almost eerie demeanor. He claims he wants peace, reconciliation, a fresh start with his son. But Johnny doesn't believe him, not for a second. And he doesn't want forgiveness. He wants answers, and he's not convinced he'll get any. Susan Banks, ever the intuitive soul, immediately senses something's off. Her eyes dart between father and son like a cat sensing a predator in the room. Johnny is hiding something dark, something dangerous, and she's not wrong. The damning footage when EJ finally gets a moment alone. He pulls out the memory card he stole from Rafe Hernandez. His hands tremble slightly as he loads it into a hidden device. What he sees makes his blood run cold. There on the screen is Johnny, his only son, pointing a gun at him. It's a silent moment frozen in time, and EJ stares at it with a mix of disbelief and heartbreak. Johnny didn't pull the trigger, of that EJ is certain. He removed the memory card before the actual shooting happened. But still, the image of his son aiming a weapon at him is enough to shatter whatever fragile hope for reconciliation EJ may have had. His expression darkens. There's no mistaking it now. This wasn't a misunderstanding. Johnny meant to threaten him. Maybe he even intended to shoot. And that changes everything. Paulina's intervention and harsh truths as tensions rise inside the mansion. Another emotional showdown brews just outside. Paulina Price is on her way, and she's not coming quietly. After comforting Chanel and helping her process Johnny's devastating refusal to adopt, Paulina decides it's time to confront him directly. She storms into the DiMera mansion with the force of a hurricane and launches into a blistering critique. "How dare you break my daughter's heart?" she demands. Johnny listens, stoic at first, then slowly unraveling. He didn't mean to hurt Chanel. But he just isn't ready to be a father, not now, maybe not ever. And while Paulina doesn't want to hear it, a part of her understands. She too once gave up a child. She knows the pain of making hard choices for the sake of a child's future. And maybe, just maybe, she sees a sliver of herself in Johnny's uncertainty. Still, Paulina is furious, not because Johnny said no, but because he gave Chanel hope and then yanked it away. That's a cruelty she cannot forgive so easily. Leo and Gabi's clash elsewhere in Salem, another conflict brews, this one spiced with suspicion and sarcasm. Leo Stark, never one to shy away from chaos, teams up with an unlikely ally to confront Gabi Hernandez. The accusation? That Gabi had something to do with EJ's shooting, or at the very least, that she knows more than she's letting on. Gabi, of course, isn't in the mood to be cornered. But Leo has receipts, or at least, he claims to. Whether this is a genuine attempt to uncover the truth or just another case of Leo stirring the pot remains to be seen. Either way, tempers will flare, secrets may be spilled, and no one will walk away unscathed. Chad's unexpected surprise, and finally, in a quieter corner of Salem, Chad DiMera runs into two familiar faces. Kat Green and her sister Felicity. It's a light-hearted moment amidst the chaos, but it won't stay that way for long. Kat surprises Chad with unexpected news, perhaps about her recent bachelorette auction date, or maybe something more personal. Either way, Chad finds himself once again tangled in the complicated web of relationships and unexpected obligations that seem to follow every DiMera man like a shadow. As Wednesday draws to a close in Salem, will Bo be saved in time? Will EJ seek vengeance or redemption? Can Johnny find a way to atone for his sins, or is the DiMera bond forever broken? Next, Days of Our Lives spoilers say that John Black has chosen to lay down his own life so that Bo Brady may rise once more. John's decision is not the rash impulse of a man cornered by fate. It is the deliberate, clear-eyed choice of a husband, a father, and a friend who understands that true heroism is measured not in victories collected but in lives preserved. Longtime viewers recall the countless times John has leapt into danger, onto burning docks, into collapsing tunnels, across hostile borders to spare the innocent and shield the vulnerable. Yet none of those past rescues can match the gravity of what he is doing now here, in a softly lit operating suite that smells faintly of antiseptic, fresh linen, and impending farewell. Tonight, John's body lies still upon a sterile table while a team of surgeons stands assembled in a silent semicircle, heads bowed as though at communion. Overhead, the surgical lights gleam like full moons, throwing his weathered features into gentle relief. The silver threads at his temples, the steadfast jaw that once clenched against the cruelest interrogations, the crease at the bridge of his nose that deepened each time Marlena whispered his name through tears. Moments earlier, with trembling fingers and unflinching resolve, he signed the final consent form. One organ will be taken, then another still, each marked on the chart for both. Heart valves ready to replace those ravaged by septic shock, a segment of liver to coax failing tissue back to life, perhaps even kidneys should Bo's begin to falter under the onslaught of infection. Across the hall, Hope clutches the phone to her ear, her voice a fragile thread weaving between sobs as she speaks to Kayla and Sean. She is fighting to stay strong, but the very air seems to shudder with the enormity of what has been offered. How, she asks, does one accept such a gift? Bo's life, once vibrant with laughter, motorcycle engines, and the warm scent of ocean breezes, now hangs by a fraying thread from the machines that beep and hiss at his bedside. Infection has spread from his bloodstream to his lungs, to his liver, to the very marrow of his bones. Antibiotics have failed. Time has bled away. And then, like a lighthouse slicing through fog, John's offer arrived. Marlena stands nearby, hands folded at her chest, as two nurses wheel her husband toward the double doors of the operating wing. Every inch of her wants to cry out, to beg him to stay, to conjure some last-minute miracle that will spare them both. Yet she knows that to deny him now would be to deny everything that makes John who he is. His honor, his compassion, his steadfast belief that no life is truly lost if it can ignite hope in another soul. Steve Johnson waits beside her, an anchor in this rising tide of grief. His single eye glistens as he remembers decades of fighting side by side with the man now surrendering his future. Roman Brady stands on her other flank, jaw clenched, arms folded so tightly that his knuckles bleach white beneath the strain. Their silence is not empty. It is full of memories. Boisterous poker nights at Brady's pub, whispered strategy sessions in cramped safe houses, shared smirks when their children triumphed over youthful missteps. When the orderly asks if there are any final words, Marlena bends to press her lips to John's forehead. Her voice is barely more than a breath. Thank you for loving us enough to let us go. John's eyes, though dimmed by pain, shine with unspoken vows. Love is never lost, document. It only finds a new home. While scalpels glint and sutures are prepared, Kayla assembles the transplant team just 2 suites away. Bo's chart reads like a battlefield report: fever spikes, plummeting oxygen saturation, organ systems listing in danger sequence. Yet within the gloom, there burns the smallest spark of hope. A heart valve from a beloved friend, a liver graft infused with a hero's resilience. These fragments of John's mortal vessel are about to form a bridge over the torrent that would otherwise sweep Bo beyond reach. It is not just tissue that will be transferred, but courage, loyalty, childhood lullabies sung to his children, quiet prayers whispered on stormy nights. Hope, Sean, and Sierra are granted a final moment at Bo's side before the transplant begins. Sean's guilt weighs upon him like chain mail. He still hears the echo of that awful gunshot, still sees his father stumble, still feels the icy terror that followed. Sierra gently squeezes her brother's hand. She sees their mother's shoulders quake as Hope leans close to Bo's ear. "Hang on, fancy faces, brave sailor," she whispers, voice ragged. "Our friend is lending you his strength." Her tears drop onto the white hospital sheet, pearls of anguish and fervent faith. Outside the surgical suites, Salem's night unspools in slow motion. Street lamps flicker along empty sidewalks. A lone taxi hums past the town square where flower boxes overflow with jasmine and late-blooming pansies. Inside Brady's pub, Julie wipes down the bar with extra care, pausing every few minutes to gaze at the front door, half expecting Steve or Roman to burst in with news. Maggie phones in from the Horton house, her voice breaking as she offers prayers. Even EJ, yes CJ, sits in the dim library of the DeMera mansion, television muted, bourbon untouched, listening for the ring that might announce salvation or sorrow. And so, dear viewer seated comfortably at home, we invite you to hold the scene in your heart before any further story unfolds. Picture, if you will, two operating rooms joined by a delicate dance of life. In one, a warrior lies down in final stillness. In the other, a warrior prepares to rise again. Feel the hush that falls across monitors when the attending surgeon calls for silence. For now is the hour when one man's brave goodbye becomes another's fragile rebirth. Let every subsequent tale of romance and rivalry, every whispered secret and explosive revelation, be framed by this single truth. No intrigue in Salem has ever carried stakes so profound, nor illuminated love in such radiant measure, as John Black's ultimate sacrifice to rescue Bo Brady. This, then, is where our chronicle begins, not with a mystery to be solved, nor a villain to be unmasked, but with an act so unselfish that heaven itself seems to lean closer, listening. And because of that act, when dawn returns to Salem, the sun will rise upon a world forever changed. For out of John's parting gift, Bo may yet open his eyes, draw a full breath, and speak the two words that weddings, battles, and bedside vigils have taught us all to cherish beyond gold or power: "I'm alive." Stay with us, dear friends. For the path ahead is by turns harrowing and hopeful, stitched with sorrow yet shining with possibility. The journey will test loyalties, break hearts, and perhaps slowly mend them. But whatever storms may gather over Salem's steeples and cobblestones in the chapters to come, remember this prologue etched in courage. A life laid down, a life lifted up, and a community joined in gratitude that love, real, sacrificial love, can still conquer the darkest night.